Mecca and Priber. Just give you guys a quick rundown. Everybody who's maybe seeing this on YouTube or turning in for the first time, this is DeFi Decoded, where we really try to decode DeFi, especially on Solana, make it less intimidating, make it more user-friendly and beginner-friendly for people. And we like to basically have DeFi Decoded as a way for people who don't quite understand DeFi to be able to keep in the loop and understand the basics of kind of what's going on. And we touch on some complex topics, but we also like to keep it also on things that basically layman's terms as well. And so, but I know that anybody who has been keeping up with Solana DeFi obviously has known about Robox and all the massive and quick growth, which is that's been what's really awesome to see is your guys' quick growth where you really don't typically see that within Solana DeFi projects, because obviously something like Sharky took a long time to be the titan it is today, and the fact that you guys are not even live to the public and have a pretty sizable market share on mortgages, for example, is pretty amazing to see.
Yeah,
and into bear markets.
I appreciate the compliments. I think the reason why we have managed to achieve a pretty significant traction is the fact that we're trying to cater to our users, and we're trying to have this super user-friendly approach where normies and professional traders, they are both in the same boat and they are equally able to understand the whole concept of buy now pay later, leverage trades. And to be honest, it's quite complex. So it's not like a buy now pay later in the Web 2. It's not like Klarna or Ethereum. Here you need to keep track of some advanced parameters such as liquidation price, such as interest rates, such as expiration date. So that's why we're trying to basically make sure that everything is as simple as possible, but at the same time you can do a lot with your NFT collateral and with your investment in general. So yeah, I would be happy to elaborate on that.
Yeah, we're gonna get all into that in the coming deal. But yeah, I'm super excited to have you guys on here. Been following for a while. Our researcher Khalid is an absolutely huge fan of you guys, and actually seen that you guys have posted or retweeted some of his tweets that he's made on you guys. So
yeah, I mean he's doing a fantastic job, and yeah, honestly, we need people like him to cover a lot of projects, to break them down, because the majority of them, they're complex, they're having their own advantages and disadvantages at the same time. So it's good to explain it to the community.
Absolutely. I always make sure to remind him that he's a superstar for us in Divine Dogs, and we're gonna have him around for a long time. But for everybody who's just tuning in for the first time and has no idea of Robox, how would you describe Robox to someone who hasn't heard of it for the first time?
Yeah, I think that's our elevator pitch for traditional Web2 people. Is that we're buy now pay later platform for NFTs or digital collectibles, right? You can buy the NFT basically now, own it, because we're in an escrow-less platform and the NFT is stored in your wallet, and you can get access to the utilities, airdrops, events, Discord, without having to fully pay the price, right? You can just basically own the NFT for 30% of the price, sometimes even 20%. And yeah, that's our, I guess, main definition in one way. For an advanced traders, I would say we're an NFT leverage trading platform on the spot market. So we're not doing NFT perps, we're not doing derivatives, but at the same time, we can say that we are also enabling people to multiply and amplify their gains. So yeah, I guess we have those two kind of definitions.
Yeah, you have two completely unique markets, right? You have the side who's really into NFTs and want to be a part of this community at a fraction of the price, but you also have some more advanced users who want to use it for their financial benefit, and you also attract them as well.
Yeah, I think that's right now we're trying to focus on basically two markets and two segments. And in the bear market, I think that the segment that is actually bringing the most volume is traders or whales that actually know what they're doing, and they're like scooping a lot of NFTs, a lot of good projects. For example, Asset Dash is like a good one, because I think that one of the whales, they have bought about 100 NFTs or something like that, and they have bought 20 through Robox. Same for Ugis. I think that the whale bought like about 20 NFTs through Robox as well. So that's what really pleases me, to be honest. The fact that some advanced users who are not like normies in the ecosystem, who are not new, who actually know that what they're doing, they're finding Robox useful for them and for their kind of goals. And the goal is honestly like very simple. You just gotta defer your payment. So the point is that if you take a look at the time value for money, or like any kind of traditional financial concepts, you have this idea that the money right now, they're worth much more than the money in the future, right? Because you have the opportunity cost, you can like invest the money, and they might be bringing you some return, and that's why you would like to keep the money to you as close as possible. So if I want to buy an NFT, I don't want to allocate 100% of the price for this NFT. I perhaps I'm more inclined to allocate only 30% of the price. So it doesn't necessarily mean that I don't have the funds to buy it, right? It's just the risk aversion type of thing. So we're trying to cater to that market as well.
Yeah, I mean, if
Wait.
go ahead.
No,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
But like, do you increase your risk by taking a loan on an asset as volatile as an NFT, or do you reduce the risk of when you buy the NFT? Because it can be like, yeah, okay, so I can like use only like allocate 80% of the current price of the NFT, but like you don't know what's gonna happen next week on that collection, or you can be like you never know when the next back swarm is coming, right? So like, are you reducing or increasing your risk?
Yeah, I think that's actually a great question. So if you're trading on high leverage, you might potentially increase your risk of getting liquidated, right? Because you might get to the point of like huge volatility. And I will touch on that a bit later, but that's why I think that our model, the peer-to-pool model, is more sustainable, because we don't have high LTV ratio. So I think that our liquidation price is pretty standard and sustainable in a way. But at the same time, sorry, let's say I want to invest in like 3 collections, right? One of them is gonna really like be the next DGAT, and the other 2, they're gonna die. And according to the NFT statistics, most likely like 99% of the whole NFT collections are gonna die. So it might be wise for me to like spread the eggs across different baskets. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you use leverage to allocate your capital and more diversify it between collections, instead of just having one big bet and then with the same capital. So you have the same risk, but you diversify. You spread it across multiple collections only, but you have the same allocation on your capital. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and but at the same time, we see like different users on our platform, and some of them are using Robux in a bit different ways. So they are not trying to diversify the soul between several collections, but they rather want to multiply their gains for a specific collection. And yeah, the recent one was Asset Dash. So as Mecca has mentioned, yeah, we've had several users who has bought a bunch of them, and yeah, so it's like another strategy.
And is that better like to do it on high volume collection or high price, or like low price? What's the best strategy? What do you see?
Yeah, the best collections for us, and that's our main criteria is the liquid collections. So we in order to maintain the liquidity pool and maintain the liquidation prices, we only allow trading for the liquid collections, so which has a lot of beats on Tensor, for example. And yeah, so right now I would say we're mostly focusing on the blue chip collections and also on the new mints, because yeah, most of the collections are generating most of the volume in the first days.
Makes sense.
That's saying that brings up a curious question for me. Say obviously a hyped mint happens, and what happened in the bull run, right? We see a hyped collection and they have a phenomenal first 7 days of volume, but then they can just dump off a cliff when it comes to volume wise. It may not be price, but absolutely for volume. Is there a threshold that you guys hold that you cut off or can delist a collection if it goes below a volume threshold?
Yeah, exactly. So the way we are listing kind of new collections or just collections in general is that we are looking at the bids on the AMMs and on the order books of different marketplaces. And if we basically understand that the collection has enough bids to basically pass our internal threshold, we will be listing it on Robox. And we're doing it because we want to make sure that we're able to liquidate this NFT to the AMM, if push comes to shove and if basically the floor price goes down. So in that case, we won't be losing any money as the platform, and our depositors as well won't be losing any Solanas. And that's where we're a less risky option for them compared to, for example, P2P platforms. So as for the new mints, of course, they're super risky and they're super volatile. That's why we're trying to limit the leverage for them to 50%. So, for example, today's Rave, the leverage for them is like only 50%. There is a high probability as well that, in 2 weeks they might sink, depending on, their roadmap and the founders as well. So we will be like limiting trading of the collection if we realize that the floor price goes down. So in that case, like everything is dynamic, and we just want to make sure that our traders, they are not, incurring any losses at this point.
Okay, so has there already been a case where you guys had to delist or disenable trading of a certain collection just because it didn't pass your criteria?
I mean, we first listed, I think, turtles, and we have just realized that not a lot of people, are buying turtles. Although I think it's a pretty good collection. Obviously, they're having their own like problems right now with the stake and hack, and then the exploit. But yeah, I think that's a good example. I think that we're just sorry. I think that we're just delisting the collections that are not super popular. And it's not that like people are having a lot of trades, because usually people will have a lot of trades on the collections that are also very popular on the marketplaces and they're having a lot of bids. And that's why it kind of doesn't make sense to, delist it unless we know it's a rug or like a guaranteed rug, something like that.
Gotcha. Okay, makes sense. I know we kind of dove head first because it was a very broad question, but we kind of wheel it back, take a couple steps back. I'd love, and I'm pretty sure everybody else would love to hear the backstory of Robox Fi and both of you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. As for the Robox, so I think that first of all, we're the founders of Generous Robots. That's like a mini investment DAO on Solana. We have minted more than a year ago, and our main thesis was basically to allocate, capital into different ideas, private sales, and stuff like that. And recently we realized that we're in the bear market, and there are not a lot of ideas, not a lot of token offerings that we can participate in as a DAO. That's why we needed to diversify, and that's why we needed to actually build a sustainable product. And since we have a background in like finance, computer science as well, we have just realized that NFT and DeFi is a perfect kind of fit for background, and just it will be a great application for Solana as well. And I myself was inspired by Drift. They're offering like crypto perps, and I tried to play around, with it for a while. And honestly, it's just I love leverage. I think that that's a great tool for aspiring traders and for people to get rich, but at the same time to get tracked if you are not using it correctly. Yeah, and and a lot of people, they have been using leverage in a way on, for example, Sharkify, where they can buy NFT, then borrow against it to buy another NFT from the similar collection, stuff like that. So why don't we just introduce it and kind of combine it into one simple UX UI and allow people to actually trade NFTs with leverage? So that's how the idea came up. And at the same time, the Solana also started their hackathon, the Grizzlython, right? And to be honest, we were like quite late. We have started the project, I think 6 weeks, like 4 weeks before the deadline. So we had to, scrape a very, very basic MVP, which was actually working. So we almost didn't sleep during the submission time, and like in the last 3 days, I think. And we submitted the project obviously 15 minutes before the deadline. Managed, yeah, like a homework, back in the day. Then we managed to get into the top 10 projects out of 160 in the DeFi track, like top 40 out of 800. and we were like super excited and pumped, and we decided to double down on the project and started building it. And like buy now pay later is just one feature that we are offering right now. I think that in the future we'll be expanding and we'll be like one-stop NFT, NFT-fi shop.
That's cool.
Yeah. Just like a few more things I wanted to add. So speaking about myself, I think I'm a bit more cautious with leverage trading compared to Mecca, but at the same time, I also realized that this is a kind of an evolution of the NFT market. Maybe not right now, but like in the upcoming months or years, this market will evolve, and different NFT-fi products and the NFT-fi protocols will pop up. And I've also realized that this idea is really viable, and that's why we've decided to work on that.
Man, one of the coolest things I got out of that and just stuck out to me the most is that through Mecca, you said through you interacting and playing around with Drift Protocol, it kind of inspired you to make Robox, right? And so what I'm really I was talking to, I think it was Vince the other day, about how the more these different products comes out and have success stories and be so user friendly, and Solana in general being able to build upon these things and the infrastructure it provides, it inspires people and builders to make the next big thing. So it's super cool to see that maybe one day down the road that Robox is going to be able to inspire the next big product, next up and coming product within the NFT-fi space or the DeFi space, just because of what you guys have already accomplished and what you guys provide for users. So I think that's a really cool thing to think about.
And it's only available on Solana, possible on Solana.
Only possible on Solana. And the fact that Drift is not connected to NFT-fi ecosystem, right? We're not benefiting ourselves basically from Drift. We're like benefiting from Tensor, from Magic Eden, because they're providing us with the NFTs that we're listing on our platform as an aggregator almost, right? And it's just the fact that they're having such a simple UX UI that people can easily basically, trade with the leverage and understand all the stats. And that's where, all the inspiration for our UX and UI is also coming from.
That's incredible, man. That's really awesome. Yeah, and I mean, speaking of you guys, obviously, your UX UI has been incredible with the growth that you guys had. I know we touched on it in the beginning, but and you talked a little bit about how your catering to your users has been a big part of this market growth that you've seen, even though once again you guys aren't even public. What are the biggest things, and you can even include that again, that you account for this explosive growth and market share?
I think first of all, it's the fact that we have participated in the hackathon, so we got some traction from Solana Foundation, and also there is Solana FM. So it was like an early partner of us. We are kind of trying to post links to their Wallet Explorer on our UX UI, and people can basically see their mint IDs, the mint IDs of the NFTs, from the Solana FM wallet. So those kind of partnerships managed to establish credibility, and people viewed us as basically a very credible platform that have decided to launch during the Solana hackathon. Secondly, I think that's the generous robots community. So we had an existing community, and they were kind of patiently waiting for our next big product. And they, like some of the community members, they were super patient and they tried to support us as well. And as soon as we start getting some traction and people actually started to use us, I think that community sentiment was like super bullish and super positive, and they started to invite their friends and basically other traders to use us. And the whole, I think, application system is also great because it allows us to have this, feeling and sense of exclusivity for people, right? Because they need to apply in order to be eligible to kind of use this new product. And I think that it also gave us like some new applicants or users. And basically the process right now works in the following way. So you need to apply, we will consider you. And if you're accepted, we will DM every accepted user, so every accepted applicant. And then we're having this like close chat in Twitter DMs with the user, and we're asking them for this constant feedback. And if they're having like, God forbid, any issues, we're trying to basically instantly fix them. We're trying to, cater to them as much as possible, trying to listen to their feedback, trying to have an open communication with them. So I think that that's just some basic things that every startup should do at our stage, listen to the users, because they will guide us in the right direction. And from that time, as soon as our users are satisfied, we will be able to, launch publicly and then have this exponential growth phase.
Yeah, and also I think it's a great thing of the Web3 is that you have a better sense of the community and your users, because like the way you can interact with the users is much better than in like traditional Web2 companies, and you can get an almost instant feedback from the users, and I would say it's almost impossible in the traditional companies. Yeah, and what also played a huge role is the official partnerships with the Tanzer and recently Major Kitten, as well as MonkeyDAO, for example. And I think a lot of users has come after these announcements, and also some whales who are doubling down on some of the collections in a huge way, I would say.
That's cool. Okay, I'm excited now. I like that.
Yeah, you guys have had some massive partnerships recently. Obviously, Magic Eden was the one that I've seen has made the most noise in that aspect. But you guys have not been sleeping on that aspect at all. But it's funny, you guys talked about generous robots, and back in the first time we ever wrote on you guys, obviously we wrote on Robox now, but Divine Dogs has even wrote on generous robots, right? When you guys first minted there, so it's funny to
Let's
see.
go.
Let's go.
Yeah, so we've always been bullish on you guys here at Divine Dogs. That's cool.
We have a question from Carlos. How the project represents the Web3 space? I think we kind of answered that, because the question was sent 20 minutes ago, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, I can touch on that. I think that web providing basically a lower entry level barrier to traders and collectors into the Solana NFT ecosystem, and making the market more efficient is obviously benefiting the ecosystem as well. I think that's why, for example, Solana Foundation is supporting us, because if we are able to once again amplify the liquidity on the market, because it's super fragmented right now, it's like super low, let's not shy away from it. It's like what's the NFT trading volume? It's less than 100k Solanas, right? It's not super good, but with such solutions as ours, with like Sharkify, with different NFT lending tools, where we will be able to basically multiply the liquidity, and that's how we survive in the bear market as well. But in the bull market, I'm sure that everything's gonna 10x and multiply from that point.
That's gonna be. Can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah, and that's a perfect. That question was a perfect segue into our next point of talking about. Obviously, we've talked a large part about the benefits of the borrowers, right? They get exclusive access to these communities at a bargain of a price, a fraction of what they otherwise have to pay. Other people with much more liquidity get leveraged positions on the collections that they're bullish on. And those are the main two markets, right? And the main two benefits of borrowers, correct?
Yes. So as for the borrowers, I think that's I will be explaining it in a very long time. But honestly, so the model for the borrowers is, I think, ideal in a way, because they're able to stake their Solana and deposit their Solana in almost a risk-free, fashion. Because of course they're having this risk of smart contracts being exploited or some other risks, but I think that our main advantage compared to P2P model, for example, is that we don't have a risk for the borrowers. For the lenders. For the lenders to be stuck with an NFT which has been defaulted by the borrower, and then basically that is going to zero, or that is underwater. And that's why they're not essentially losing their Solanas while they're staking them. And they're just earning this constant APY. So I think that our model is more suited for whales and for some funds as well. So we have already been hit up by 2 kind of institutional DeFi funds that have staked some Solanas in the pool, and they're just super excited because how they're operating is essentially the fact that they are guaranteeing some, specific APY to their like not holders, but to their clients, let's say, or to their depositors, and we're providing higher APY, and they're basically earning from the difference. So we're kind of a great solution for them because they don't need to, place bids, always restake the bids, place new bids. If you have been outbidded, wait for it. They're just taking their Solana and, earning the APY. And the APY is generated from the interest on the platform and from the liquidation fees. And we're right now charging 0.5, from 0.25% to 0.5% per day from the loan amount, depending on the utilization rate in the pool, and we're also charging 5% from the loan amount for the liquidation. So yeah, that's our business model. And in the first 2-3 months of our existence, we're not charging any fees to the platform. So all the kind of revenues that go in straight back to the depositors.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's the model.
So,
and clarifying for everybody who's listening, that this is the benefit for all the lenders and the depositors onto the platform. And so I want to also highlight on, because obviously people think about, like there's been some, obviously you guys have reached up to like 110% APY, right? And so, Khalif back showed me a tweet interaction that you guys had, or an exchange, excuse me, about the risk for lenders, and say there was a run on the bank. And I really liked the response that you had and the precautions that you guys have in place for lenders if there ever was a mass, withdrawal onto your platform. Could you kind of go into that?
Yeah, I mean, this case can potentially happen, especially, for example, if we see the black swan event like FTX crash, when everyone is trying to get their money out of everything and they just get it into the cold wallet. And for this case, we are right now, we're like combining the, like I would say, reserve fund, which can be used for this case. That's like the last stop that we can do. But before that, we are also trying to balance the utilization ratio of the pool. So we are trying to have it at around 50%, which means that 50% of the liquidity is currently in the pool and it can be withdrawn by the users. And in this case, we're like basically balancing the demand and the supply between lenders who want to like withdraw their Solana or to deposit it back. That's one of the main things.
Yeah, it's extremely sick.
Okay, so wait, like basically what you were saying, like just before, it was like you're doing a better job than Sharky for the lenders, right?
I'm not saying. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. If you want to destroy them, do it.
But... No, destroy them, but like it's in the concept of like what you explained, right?
Yeah, I think we are basically targeting different lenders' audience, I would say. So Sharky is targeting more, I would say, active investors who are ready to spend a lot of time per day to manage their bids, to like find the suitable collections for which they want to give the loans, analyze each collection, understand what is the foreclosure ratio, and what is basically their chances to get stuck with the illiquid NFTs. And in our case, we are focusing more on the passive investors, but we're also welcoming the active investors as well. So basically, in our case, you can just deposit your SOL in one aggregated pool, and we are taking the risks of the foreclosure on ourselves based on the liquidation price, and basically the lender doesn't need to do any additional actions to maintain the liquidity. And to manage.
Yes,
that's cool.
So I think that we should give it to Sharky, because their APY, for example, it's higher than in our pool. Right now in our pool, APY is like about 70%, and they're having like a 120 APY for the DGATs. But if you take a look at the Sharp ratio, so the return to risk ratio, you will realize that they're almost equal. So our, once again, lenders or liquidity providers, they don't have the chance of being stuck with illiquid NFT. and Shark is having some default ratios, which I think they're around 10%, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the end of the day, the kind of risk-adjusted return is pretty similar, and it's just about your investment thesis and about your investment strategy.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, like for example, like I was testing it, like all of this land, because I fed that part of the NFT fi for too long, so I started to do it, and I'm doing it on collection that I want to buy at a cheaper price, right? So like Asset Dash, for example, I was like opening loans on Tensor when like the floor was at 30, and worst case scenario, they default for an NFT that's going to 9, but I think it's going to 20 anyway, so it should be good if they default, and if they don't, then I get the POI anyway, right? So if you stick to collection that you want to buy anywhere, then it's a win-win-win-win-win scenario, right? So it's cool.
Yeah, that's how you have $1 million worth of DGATs, right? So many defaults at once.
Well, yeah, no, it's incredible thing about, because it's for the passive yielders that just have to deposit single side Solana, and you get at least 10, or at least right now 10x at least of what you'd get from a normal staking on a validator returns right now. So that's absolutely insane. But the fact that it's also it's safer because of the backup funds that you have it set in place just in case of a black swan event or a bank run. But I mean, obviously, this is all dependent on the volume, of course. But I think this ties in directly with Khalid, because you guys are just in beta phase, right? And depositors are getting 70 to 100% APY on just their Solana from the volume you guys are having, the liquidation fees, the everything else, right? That we discussed. But Khalid asked, how do you guys feel about reaching high volumes even during a beta phase? Do you guys have a planned date for the public release?
Yeah, so I think we have been debating about public release, and we're actually having like this idea. So we want to release basically a new feature, which is not a BNPL feature, but which is kind of a very widespread feature, across the NFT-fi area. So it's not that complicated for us to release it. So we're just thinking about releasing it first or releasing the public version first. So yeah, it's just the decision that we're kind of thinking about right now. But I think that most likely is going to happen within the next 2 weeks, to be honest, because everything is pretty much ready for the public launch. So we have been, tested, and we just need maybe to have some small buck bounty or something like that competition to make sure that everything is smooth. But yeah, we will see how it's going to play out.
Bro, do semi-private beta stuff, like do whitelist or something, so then people can FOMO and then build up the hype around it. Don't open it to public yet.
Yeah, I mean, that's also possible. I think that's part of the reason why we have so many users is because people are like feeling FOMO in a way because it's closed, right? And when it's open, it's not that interesting. So we might want to like build up the FOMO for like another month or two, and we will see how it's gonna play out.
Do like mint tickets, like like the golden ticket stuff, and you do a mint, and then people with like the ticket can access the platform.
Nice, and then people gonna flood us. For
exactly.
for the mint, yeah.
Well, trust me, if you guys still during public have even 50% or even half of the APY you guys have right now, you're gonna have plenty of depositors at least for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's it's actually kind of pretty counterintuitive and interesting that we are not having a problem with liquidity, right? We have been approached by like 2 funds, and some whales also super interested to allocate, the Solana and deposit. So our problem, or I would say challenge, is from the kind of trading side of things and from the borrower's perspective. So that's why I think that we need to kind of increase the demand right now. Probably natively integrate into some of the existing marketplaces or MMs. That's what we're working on as well right now. So yeah, we just need to make sure that we are able to kind of expand our distribution channels. So for example, a referral process is in works as well. So we want to create the system where you can basically create your own referral link, share it with your friends, and then you'll be able to earn a percentage of the interest that they're paying to, for closing the positions. So that's basically not that complicated to implement. So I think that it will make sense to do it after the public launch. And we have already also launched the loyalty program, or like the point system that we have. So basically for like every 1 Solana that you're paying in interest, you're getting like 1K points. And those points, they can be converted to, tokens, so they can be used as raffle tickets to like NFT, raffles. So that's also some gamification system. But yeah, I think that at some point we also will launch a token, and those kind of points, they will play a role in the token and in the possible airdrop. But it's just a very it's too soon to elaborate on that.
Okay, I might actually. Like, Meka, please DM me again, asking me to test the platform. But okay, so if you have the referrals, why not just like still keep it closed, and then you get people with the referral codes? So then like you have an organic growth,
Yeah, that's actually a good approach to launch the referrals before the public launch, and have a lot of like invitations and referrals to the whitelist.
Exactly.
And later I think it can play very good. Yeah, thanks
Let's
for the
go.
idea.
Well, what's really, really cool to see is that you guys are having, the same issues as, or not, I want to say issues, but you guys are preparing for possible bottlenecks that are bottlenecking things like Sharky, right? And traditional NFT lending right now, they're trying to incentivize more borrowers because they have the liquidity and they have the depositors that want to earn this yield, right? But it's about incentivizing those borrowers to come in and actually, facilitate both sides of trading, right?
Yeah, because basically borrowers, they're the ones who are paying interest to the liquidity providers and to the lenders. So lenders, they are having their rewards already. So we need to have some rewards for the borrowers as well, right? And that's why they should be kind of centered around them, not around the lenders.
Because then it's chicken and eggs, right? Like you need both to have a sustainable business model, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also pretty interesting. We are basically trying to balance the amount of liquidity we have with the trading volume, and we are, I would say, pushing back slightly some of the people who want to provide liquidity, because right now we see that the liquidity we have is enough for the trading in order to maintain the good APY and the utilization ratio. But when we will have more users, we can deposit more liquidity, and this is the continuous process that we're trying to bring.
Yeah, it's always a back and forth. Obviously, it has to start with liquidity, right? But then from there, it always has to go back and forth to have the best balance possible. So both sides.
Do you have like referral link for either both case? Like if you want to be a borrower, then you use my link, and if you want to be a lender, then use this one, and then you can control the flow of people, or even like the bonus you allocate to, or having like events of promotion, right? So then it's like, oh yeah, this is the borrowers week, let's go and let's sign up today, and then you do something special for them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Like right now we're in contact with like a third-party vendors who will be providing us with the kind of infrastructure for the for the referral links. And the challenge that they're facing right now is that they are not able to create them with like a multitasking purpose. So right now you can only have one task, which is like for the borrowers, for example, or only for the lenders. Of course, right now we should be focusing on the lenders, so we might be starting like that, and later on we'll be doing like a multi, tasking link.
That's cool. Nice. I always like brainstorm online live.
Of course. Feel free to suggest other ideas, guys.
Yeah. No, I mean, this should get anybody kind of excited if you haven't heard of Robox. The fact that they have all the things set in place to have continued momentum growth, and the fact they're already experiencing that growth and have the things set in place to keep the momentum going in the snowball building. This should be a really exciting thing to hear for anybody that's listening right now. But that also brings me to my next question, that what unique benefits are there going to be for Generous Robots holders once it becomes public?
Yeah, so first of all, it's the discounts for the platform fees and for the interest as well. We have not yet decided the exact amount for the discount, so it varies like from 25% to possibly 50%. Yeah, we just need to evaluate the demand and decide from that time. So secondly, 25%, it's also TBD, but yeah, approximately 25% of the gross revenues from the platform. Once we will, start taking the cuts for the platform from the depositors, they will be going to basically Generous Robots, and we'll be having this gamified profit sharing system. So it will be kind of similar to Sharky. You need to have a robot with a kind of specific level. And right now we're having a point-based staking system. So these points will basically play a role in the upgrade mechanics of the robot. And the more points you will get, the higher level of the robot you will be able to have. And that will mean that you will be eligible to a higher level of profit sharing.
Let's go, man.
Let's go.
That's alpha if I ever heard it.
Yeah, it's alpha, but you've heard it.
Exactly. So this is awesome. We've gotten through, we only have like 12 minutes left of the show, and we've not even gone half through the points we had set
We're
up.
chit-chatting, bro.
Yeah, which is honestly great. That shows how organic and how really excited things that are going on. But as a not so, yeah, and I mean we kind of talked about this next topic of like the liquidity issues that you guys have seen to build the Robox in general. What are you still seeing right now be the biggest liquidity issues within the NFT market that Robox is either going to solve now when they become in public, or still have yet to be solved?
I think the biggest issue is that there are no new buyers, no new people. And honestly, at this point, it's impossible to solve this issue because, of course, we have heard everything that's happening with the SEC, and they're basically scaring like the general population, and they're filing the lawsuits. So basically, the gatekeepers, like the people who onboard and projects who onboard like normies to the Web3, that's the centralized exchanges, right?
Yeah.
Binance and Coinbase, and they're filing lawsuits against them. So how we're planning to onboard more people to crypto and NFTs, if, those kind of entities are being threatened, and yeah. So yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, but like until the SEC lose the trial, and then the bull run market is coming back, and then Bitcoin will be at 600K, then it will be easier to onboard people because they're coming at the top.
I mean, people basically they are onboarded, to crypto, and they come to crypto because they want to earn money.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's totally fine.
Yeah.
And that's why people are going to AI right now, because it's the future, and almost all the VCs, they're focused on AI right now, and that's the kind of field with money. Crypto right now is lacking money in some way, I think, because everything has been burned, twice or thrice because of the bear market and like FTX collapse and multiple black swan events. So I think that as soon as like the economy will recover, we will be able to have like kind of more mass adoption and new people coming in. To be honest, I don't see it playing out in the short term. By short term, I mean like 6 months, maybe like even 9 to 12 months. Of course, for example, from the Solana perspective, we're having like the saga, we're having the backpack, we're having those events where like people are trying to onboard the masses, but in my opinion, that's not enough. Not even addict to Solana. Is just the fact that we're in such a bad market, and we're having the same kind of issues on Ethereum, on Polygon, and other chains as well. The only chain that is like thriving a bit right now is Bitcoin and Ordinals. They're having like some hype, but I think that it will kind of go down a bit. But Bitcoin will have its own niche because it's basically like digital artifacts, and people will be there for the culture and to have those kind of NFTs engraved forever.
And what's the minimum volume that you need to generate on your platform for your business to be profitable?
That's an awesome question. Let me actually take a look at our kind of monetization spreadsheet. If we're talking about daily loan volume, so I think that's about like 2,500 Solanas. So if Solana is $25, we will be able to generate about $100K a year, a bit more. And if, for example, the daily loan volume will be like 50K, I think that Sharkify is having like 50K daily loan volume. We'll be able to generate around $3 million a year.
Wow.
So yeah, but there is a long way to the top, and it also depends on our cut. So if we decide to have like 30% cut from the liquidity providers rewards, of course our monetization will be kind of higher, but at the same time the liquidity providers, they will be less incentivized to stake their Solanas, and that's why we'll be having less liquidity providers. So that's kind of the same problem with the government and taxation, right? We need to figure out the right rate of our tax, so that we're getting, we're maximizing our kind of revenue and profit, but at the same time, we're having as many liquidity providers as possible.
Yeah, we gotta figure it out.
Phenomenal question, Vince. And
that's what I do, bro. Only good question, man.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, it's funny because we've had so many black swans, and we even talk about Luna, right? Like Luna should have sent all crypto to zero, right? We got FTX, we got Luna. Obviously, the macro stuff is terrible. And yeah, the only thing in the short term we can really do to increase new buyers is to just take them from other chains, right? Try to take money and volume from
PDP.
Yeah, and buyers from Ethereum. Everybody wants to do that on Solana, right? And obviously,
I think we also should expand the use cases for the NFTs. Right now, basically, we're only focusing on the PFPs, and especially in the 2021, 2022. Later on, I think in 2023, we have been focusing on the NFTs backed by businesses, backed by startups. That's what we're trying to do right now as well with Robox and Drainers Robots, right? And at the same time, we should also be thinking about NFTs as gaming assets. And that's a very huge industry and a very huge area. So I think that this market should pop up at some point, not sure when. But I think that the ultimate use case of the NFTs is that it will be used in the real world asset tokenization process. And if I want to buy a house, I will be able to buy it as an NFT. So it's real estate, it's some luxury items, watches or cars even. So it's just the certificate of ownership of the real world kind of collectibles, so assets. And that industry is worth more than $1 billion. More than $1 trillion. So the kind of potential is immense. And if we can tap into that market, that will mean that the NFT market is almost $1 trillion market, and the liquidity will just flow and everything will flourish.
We are early.
Sorry,
yeah,
we are early as fuck. But that honestly, right now, it's if people are able to stay in crypto during this bear market, the next bull, they will be able to get the reward of investing the best way possible into crypto, NFT, and Web3 in general, and set up themselves for success in 1 or 2 years. And that's exactly what they need to understand. And I think it's really gonna be possible with once we turn around from hype and rug and shit like that to use NFTs assets as an investment vehicle for startup without being regulated and without being an accredited investor that you can use your money as when you have already reached 1 million. Fuck that. Take your $100, buy the fucking JPEG, and have access to a service that will allow you to develop your financial education, learn stuff, developing the mindset, and help creating businesses in Web3. That's what's up. That's what we want to see.
And I think that honestly, that all comes from maturity, right? Maturity in the market, and obviously educational things like this, because obviously, like we said, it's very much majority of it is hype based, right? And nobody wants to sit in here and talk about the business fundamentals of things. They want to know when it's gonna 10x and when they're gonna have passive income for life. It's either those two, right?
On the other side of the coin, you have like one guy tweeting, "Oh yeah, give me ETH, it's pre-sale for my next shitcoin." The guy is launching 4 different projects, and then he gets like 21 million ETH and shit. Like what?
It's crazy.
It's insane. It's insane. And like people are working hard every day building businesses and like doing crazy numbers in private beta mode. And you have one guy on Twitter like generating like 30 millions just with a tweet 4 times in a month. And people are like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's, these type of legitimate projects and legitimate business in Web3 are just losing the attention market battle, right? Whoever dominates that field is going to dominate the liquidity right now, especially during a bear market, right? So I think it's hard to have that true culture growth in a time of need, right? In a desperation time where people are just looking for whenever they can make money. So I mean, that's just my personal viewpoint. I know we kind of strayed away from the core thesis, but I think the main thing to take away from this is that having more discussions like these, and the more, obviously, time heals a lot of things, and time builds a lot of things too, right? A lot of things happen, slowly, and then all at once, right? Everything happens slowly and then all at once for a lot of big things. So, I mean, that can be said for DeGods too, right? So having these type of conversations within a space like this is only going to continue to grow as this is more consistent, and the more consistent builders like you guys at Robox and Generous Robots it's just gonna come out on top, because the cream rises to the top.
Exactly. And if we can achieve a product market fit in the bear market, we can definitely be certain that we will succeed in the bull market as well. So I think that it's just time for us to kind of grind, maybe experiment in a way, because the audience right now is super mature. I would say it's super strict in terms of the due diligence as well. So they're not using some shitty project just for the sake of hype or for some random reason. You need to kind of deliver value to your users and to the holders. And that's what we're trying to do right now.
And like, when you explain what you do to the fact that you're doing like a top to bottom strategy and work with like people who know what the fuck they're doing and what they're talking about, right? It's also helped you a lot to set up the best project for them, because again, like, you don't need to educate them to like leverage mindset, etc. So that's also a smart strategy to do that way, right? And that could be tricky if you open to public, and then you need to have the materials to explaining what you are doing to everybody else.
I think that's I would say our strategy is more bottom up, because we're actually like building in public, we're building, and we're trying to educate people. No, I know what you were saying, that we're trying to like target more professional traders who understand what is leverage. But as I've been mentioning, like initially, we're trying to cater to the 2 different markets. So for traders, we're NFT leverage trading, and for kind of normies, let's say, we're buy now, pay later. And I think that for normies, it's just important to understand such things as like liquidation price and stuff like that. I think that we might need to do a better job at like, having some educational sessions or having more threads explaining what it is. Because I think that we have seen like 2 or 3 people, they have asked us like, where is my NFT? And we're like, it has been liquidated. And they're like, what does it mean? Why? And I'm like, when you open your position, there is like a huge kind of, text there, liquidation price. And then there is a huge explanation. and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that. That's kind of shitty." I'm like, "Yeah, that's the whole concept of leverage trading." So, yeah, probably we might need to host like more educational lessons, stuff like that. We're actually thinking about enrolling into the asset dashes like courses, and I know that they're offering it, for the NFT project. So I think that it will be worthwhile to create our own course. So we'll need to have like 10 asset dash NFTs for that. But yeah, I think that will be a great first step into the whole education about like BNPL. And I'm also happy to like unite and team up with our competitors, like with Rainify, with UJS as well, because if we can expand the addressable market, and in the end of the day, the best product will win, and we are kind of ready to to be the best product.
If you need an introduction to Matt at Asset Dash, I can do that for you. Like we close.
And of course, that example that you just said is literally the thesis why we created Divine Dogs on Solana. So of course we would love to help you out, and that's like the whole point of why we have you guys on the show, right? Is to show what you guys are doing within the sphere. That's incredible. But also there's these different topics that people do not realize that need to be educated on about. So we're really happy to help you guys. Obviously, you guys are already familiar with our researcher Khalid, so you know what we're about.
Khalid is in the chat.
Yeah, Khalid's in the chat, man.
And
but that's
sorry.
I was gonna say that's a perfect place to wrap things up right there. But you can. I was going to go into the key takeaways, kind of the main things we say at the very end, but you go ahead.
Yeah, like just to come back to the content creation around education, like what do you think the best way to have this content produced is? Like, like what do you want to do? Like, is that like articles on like Medium and Substack or whatever? Is that like video content, like this one, or like a podcast like that, or a short version also? Like, what do you have in mind to share this content?
Yeah, I mean, we are trying different options right now, and I think the best one as of right now is the short form videos, and we've been posting this type of videos for all the new features to release. So you basically we make a tweet with a small video explaining what is this feature about and how to use it. And I think the Asset Dash is also following this approach. So I've checked their courses. I think there are like maybe 7, 10 seconds videos, and this is like a short course. And I think in the 21st century, after the TikTok has arrived, a lot of people cannot concentrate on the longer content. That's why we need to tailor to everyone. Yeah. But I think we'll also try the articles as well. We've tried it before with generous robots, and it played pretty well for the, I would say, more advanced audience who wants to know everything about the product they are using.
And it's maybe like easier because of like you have a lot of numbers too, right? So you want to spend 2 minutes rereading the sentence.
Yeah, so I think that for the liquidity providers, they are digging into a white paper and they're like trying to dive deep and understand how everything works because they're putting their money into the platform. And for the traditional users, I think like some short videos, short Twitter threads and stuff like that in a very kind of TikTok-ish way would be would be great.
Let's go. So yeah, looks like we're doing something cool, Ash. Like, can't wait for your shorts.
Yeah, especially this is a secret project that we got to finish up on.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we always like to say and keep these 2 questions for everybody that comes on the show. And so the first thing is, what are the key takeaways that you want the audience to take away about Robox and you guys?
I think that the first key takeaway is that we will not only be limiting ourselves to a buy now pay later feature, and our goal is really to kind of provide traders and collectors with various liquidity solutions, not only liquidity. So we are having a lot of things in our roadmap, such as kind of NFT loans, NFT short selling, and like other things, and some of them will be released quite soon. and much more kind of complex features around the leverage trades, and then buy now pay later will also be released, such as like cross collateralization of loans, and yeah, many more features. So that's the first takeaway that I have. And yeah, the second one is that we will be giving back a lot to the community and to our users, because they're essentially, you know, the kind of people who will make sure that we get into the next level. So as a startup, we will not be monetizing, you know, in the first, I would say, you know, couple of months at least. And we'll be making sure to give back, you know, the users everything like possible in the form of NFTs, in the form of tokens, so they will feel like owners of the product in a way, and that's what we will call the community, right? So yeah, I think that's the main takeaways. Yeah, let me know, Priber, if you have something to add.
Yeah, sign up for the whitelist for
Let's
the
go.
Robox. We're waiting for everyone. Yeah.
All right, and then the last thing we always ask is, what are you most excited about in the Solana DeFi ecosystem outside of Robox?
I think I've touched on Drift, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also say that I've mentioned earlier that it's much easier to do the like user testing and have the conversations with users in the Web3 space compared to Web2. And another thing in Solana space is that different companies who are building here are very, I would say, like communicative to each other. So I would say like there are some projects with whom we're indirectly competing or like directly competing, but at the same time, we're still like working together on some of the things, which is pretty cool. And I would say you cannot find it anywhere else. And yeah, it's like I would say a small, small company of people who is building towards a like common goal to bring more people to Solana and make it the best blockchain for a mass audience. And that's why, yeah, we're trying hard to do that as well.
Awesome. That's cool.
All right. Well, I appreciate you two for coming on here, man. I have no idea what time it is for you guys, but I know it's having, you know, building something in Web3, especially on Solana with how, you know, fast we are around here. It's a lot to take, you know, even an hour out of your day to come on here and tell everybody about your project. So I appreciate you guys a lot, and I'm personally even more excited now after this about Robox and everything to come with Generous Robots.
Yeah, appreciate the opportunity, guys, and yeah, thanks so much for the questions, and excited about Divine Dogs as well.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for this AMA. It was a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you, everyone, for attending this AMA and listening to us. Yeah.
Thank
Absolutely.
you so much.
All right, for everybody in the audience, we'll be back next Wednesday. Should be having a pretty fun guest upon there. But
Cool.
time is still tentative. Is always going to be around this afternoon to the evening time on Wednesdays. Obviously, it's not always Wednesday for everybody, but this tentative time right here. So appreciate you everybody who tuned in. It means a whole lot to us, and we will see you guys next Wednesday.
Awesome. Okay, cool. That's perfect. Yeah, I will just say a little something for the Decoders community. If you are on YouTube right now, feel free to check all of the links for Roblox. We have everything in the description. Again, and if you are from the Robox community, come to our Decoders Discord, because we will have a free whitelist for you. We are checking like your ownership of your NFT. So yeah, once MatroCast kicks in, then you will have access to a little channel for the Robox community. That's what you want. Also, guys, send me your wallet, because I'm going to drop views for you because you participate on the channel. So you are rewarded. So that's cool. And everyone watching the show on the Watch to Earn platform, please claim your views, because today it's payday. So I'm going to airdrop like every stream of the week tonight. That's it. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, guys. Yeah, we will see you next week for DeFi Decoded, and tomorrow for another Decoder show. Thanks, guys.
Let's go.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
See you.
Thank you, guys.